enthusiastic. Thank you, team. Hopefully we'll see you at lunchtime. Okay, I see some sessions wrapping up. Are you having a good time? Okay. Come a little closer. We've got a great talk for you on the main stage coming up. They're still coming out of the meeting rooms here, Georg. Okay, anybody interested in innovation? Anybody want to know about FinTech? Anybody want to know about insurance and banking and what they're doing to change the world? Come a little closer. It's my great privilege to introduce to you Georg Ludviksson of Meniga, CEO and founder. Meniga are a Scandinavian-based business with headquarters in London who help some of the world's biggest banks and insurance firms reinvent themselves, innovate, and improve the customer digital experience. Many of you are wrestling with customers, wondering how to improve their experience. This is the talk you should be listening to. I'm not going to waste another minute of his. Won't you join me in welcoming Georg Ludviksson to the main stage? Georg, please.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here in South Africa. As he mentioned, I am the CEO and founder of Meniga. We have had the privilege to work with many of the world's leading banks and some insurance companies on improving their digital banking. So we have a pretty good understanding of how banks are reacting to the disruptive forces that they are faced with, how they're working with FinTechs and how they are looking to evolve their digital banking and business models in the future. We're primarily, we see ourselves as innovation enablers. We help banks innovate, and but we're also a software company, so we provide software solutions to banks, and our software powers digital banks that is now used by over 35 million people globally, mainly in Europe, where we work with many of the leading banks, such as Banco Santander in Spain and Latin America, Commerzbank in Germany, Intesa in Italy, mBank, which in Poland, which by many is seen as one of the most innovative banks in the world. And we also have one bank here in South Africa that we work with, and Momentum, the South African insurance company. What I wanted to briefly talk about here today are four things. First, some of the disruptive forces and changes, technical changes that retail banks are faced with today. Second, how they are reacting to this, how they can improve their online engagement and digital banking customer experience. And three, kind of innovation in the business model, new revenue models based on data in retail banking. A way of thinking of the online bank not as a place just to do banking, but a place as an ecosystem that to facilitate other type of business as well. And finally, show you a glimpse of what the personalized future digital bank can look like. First, a little bit on the disruptive forces. It's no news at a conference like this that there is a huge increase in investment and activity in FinTech startups. Investment more than doubled from 2014 to 13. Again, it doubled from 15 to 14, and it's cooling off a little bit this year, but still it's at a record high levels. And there is every week there are new potentially disruptive startups that are mostly looking to compete with banks or chip away at their business. McKinsey recently issued a report saying that up to 40% of revenues and up to 60% of banks' profits are at the risk of loss because of these disruptive new players. This is not really happening yet in the numbers of the bank, but they've never been more afraid of these disruptive forces. And there are countless startups all over the world working on this. However, when we talk to the banks, they're usually even more afraid of the big tech companies like Facebook, Google, Amazon, Apple, that they would be moving into financial services. And basically what they're afraid of is becoming the music industry, that someone will come between them and their customers and take away the customer relationship and reduce them to a back office operation. There are also already some signs of this, like for example WeChat, the leading messaging platform in China. There are also enormous growth in financial transactions that are not happening today. Facebook is already taking the first steps to go in a similar direction, and so on. Finally, the big disruptive trend is regulatory changes. The world of open data is coming. Europe is leading there. There's now a legislation that will take effect in Europe by 2018, forcing banks to open their data, meaning that if I'm a customer of a bank and want to take my data to another bank or another startup or another slick app that does a better job of my mobile banking than my current bank, I can do so, and the banks are forced to give free of charge API to move data around. There's a similar initiative going on in the UK called Open Banking, and it's being discussed in many other places. So this also is driving banks into action to consider what they should do. But from the bank's perspective, when there's disruptive forces, there's also opportunity. And primarily this is in giving a better, there's no shortcut just to give a better user experience to their customers. Most online and mobile banks today are very simple places to do banking. You can check your balance, you can maybe pay bills and transact, but there is nothing super exciting there, nothing to excite you or delight you. They're very far away typically from the best of breed mobile user experience, whether that's from Facebook or Uber or any other leading tech company. Key to acting by the banks is creating more value from personal finance data. Because if you think about it, banks are the places that have the most information about anyone's personal financial life. They know all your transactions, where you're spending the money. They know about your financial behavior, and they can do so much more in being better advisors, not just in what kind of banking products to use, but also how to be a smarter consumer. With this data, they can help you find better offers or find you switch to better providers of various services, and they can give you various fun and interesting insights. So, two things that banks can do with the data. They can develop new revenue sources, create new ecosystems, and also transfer the customer engagement and user experience. One example is that I'm going to focus on here is making the digital banking user experience much more personalized. So most digital banks today, they are places, they're digital places to do banking. You have access to your banking services there, so that's what you do there. You visit your app maybe a few times a month when you have a need to do something related to your banking. But if you combine this with personal finance insights and think of the bank rather as a virtual financial advisor, and also help banks become smarter consumers by using the information you have about people's spending habits to give them targeted, personalized advice and offers, then you get much higher quality, frequent engagement. As an example, I'm going to explain two of Meniga's most recent digital engagement innovation. On one hand, on the left, you see what we call the financial activity feed. This is essentially Facebook for your financial life. Not Facebook in the sense that it's super social, but in the sense that it's telling you the story of your financial life as it unfolds. It shows you all the spending you make, but it also summarizes this, gives you weekly summaries. It tells you where you're a regular. It gives you fun and interesting insights. It tells you if you're spending more than peers, or if you're spending more than usual at restaurants or in different categories. But it also mixes in advice about the bank's products, like which products are most likely to suit you, and in a very easy to consume timeline feed. It's also a gateway to richer data and deeper functionality. So for example, if I click a transaction in this feed, it shows me the location of the merchant, my spending history with this merchant, my spending history with this category of expense, and so on. We have built dozens of types of these personalized interpretations of user events that we put in the feed, partly summarizing your spending habits, giving you advice and nudges on how you can potentially improve it, and also helping banks better find the right solutions and services for you. Finally, I want to talk about some example strategies of some leading banks. We have, for example, BBVA, one of the largest banks in Europe, active also across Latin America. They've been very aggressive. Their CEO recently said that they've taken a very aggressive stance. The CEO recently said that they would want to turn themselves into a tech company. And they've been very aggressive buying and partnering with FinTechs, which is one strategy. Second, Santander, a bank we work with a lot, where they've also taken the strategy to invest and partner with FinTech startups to accelerate their innovation. For example, they recently deployed Kabbage, the leading SME solution in the US. They deployed it in the UK in a joint venture partnership. Finally, they're really revamping their online banking. So, finally, our summary of what banks should be doing and how to react to open data and the threat of disruption. They need to embrace open data, be bold in the use of it, be much more afraid, not be afraid to use it to give better personalized advice and new services. But of course, they have to earn the right and use it responsibly. Work more with FinTech companies, create an ecosystem. Don't reinvent the wheel in user experience, but get the quality of the online and mobile bank up to the best practices out there, and have change the organization to get a higher sense of urgency, because the clock really is ticking. Now, at 12:15, we'll be doing a more in-depth presentation on the same topic, where we will go in more depth, where I will demo many of the things I was mentioning here, show you examples of the user interfaces. That will be in ballroom 6 and 7 at 12, the FinTech room. We'd also be happy to have a conversation. We're at the booth right across ballroom 6 and 7, right across the FinTech room, with our local partner, MDN Technologies. Thank you.
Good, Georg, thank you. Thank you so much. That's quite a warm round of applause. I think you beat Vusi. Georg, quick question. On a scale of 0 to 10, where are the South African banks and finance and insurance companies in terms of their own development by your assessment?
So I think it varies. Some of them really have the right idea where they need to go, but I think it's the execution capability where there is lacking, and that's not a South African thing. All banks, the key challenge is not to know where they need to go, but rather how they can do so quickly, how they can get the IT to be high quality, and that's a key challenge here. But it's improving, and I see some signs of increased sense of urgency here, just like I see in Europe and US.
Okay, Georg, well, that's very good. He dodged the question. He didn't give me an answer of 0 to 10, but he says that you're all on the right track. You just got to move quick. Georg, thanks for your time. Okay, ladies and gents, the next learning sessions have started.